Recently, this video has graced countless YouTube timelines. And one thing became clear to me. Gooning is a talent, a gift even. And like all gifts, it's up to you whether you use it for good or for absolute degeneracy. Inspired by the Meister himself, I decided to embark on a challenge of my own. Beating Cyberpunk 2077 on very hard difficulty while being very hard.
Warning, this challenge was performed by a highly trained gooner on a closed course. Attempting to recreate this may cause the average person to explode. Also, this video only covers the base game, because I'm not spending an extra 10 to 15 hours doing the expansion and fighting a killer mecha tarantula with a sex toy. I am not that committed.
Alright, ground rules. Rule number 1, no cheating. Now, what do I mean by cheating? The only thing that should be keeping me stiff is the gameplay itself. So if I hypothetically pull up a full screen image of Sydney Sweeney on my second monitor to keep my momentum going, if you know what I mean, cheating. If I take a break mid-fight to scroll through Instagram and casually browse thirst traps, cheating. Basically, if my motivation gets externally stimulated, cheating. Rule number 2. To keep things immersive, the only weapon I'm allowed to use is the glorious, vibrating legend Sir John Palistiff. As the game describes it, perfect for when someone is just asking to get fucked. Nothing else fits the stupidly specific challenge more poetically. Rule number 3. I must beat the game on very hard difficulty. Rule number 4. If and only if I lose my stiffness during the run, I will be immediately crushed by a falling asteroid. Because yes, this is that serious. Thus, my journey began. Like every Cyberpunk playthrough, it starts off with picking a life path and building your character. I knew this challenge wasn't going to be easy, but then again, nothing worth doing in life ever is.
Let's be clear, this challenge isn't something worth it to do in life. Do not try this at home. Or do. I'm not your dad.
To even have a chance at surviving this degeneracy, I had to devise a plan. A plan so airtight, it makes Money Heist look like amateur hour. I set checkpoints. Key moments to keep me at a consistent level of stiffness. What checkpoints, you might ask? Simple. I had to see Rita Wheeler, Judy, Panam, Mama Wells, and most importantly, Meredith Stout, because she will give me the weapon I need for this. And yes, back to character creation. I needed to make sure that I made the hottest female V Night City has ever seen. Not for immersion, not for roleplaying, but so that when I'm riding on the back of Jackie's motorcycle, I have something to keep me motivated. Hey, what are you looking at? Go look at your own V. Now came the time when it hit me, on how stupidly difficult this challenge that will contribute literally nothing for mankind will be. The early game experience forced me to play in the most stealthy, timid, cowardly way possible, because I had restricted myself from using any weapon that wasn't a giant vibrating penis bat, which at this point I hadn't even acquired yet. So I had no way to fight, no way to destroy cameras, and no way to win unless I moved like a chameleon, which resulted in me dying and reloading a save this many times. Because a stupid gang member decided to ruin everything and just turn around at the exact perfect time I attempt to stealth kill them. And yes, sometimes the game forces you to shoot a gun, so minor exceptions were made, but the important thing, I was stiff the whole time. That's what matters. In order to keep this challenge somewhat bearable for both my mental and sexual health, I decided to grind the Regina Jones gigs that are available early on. This let me rack up XP, level up a bit, and afford some necessary cyberware upgrades. Because if I'm going to whack my way through Night City with a glorified plastic sledgehammer, I at least need to look cool doing it. So here I am, completing gigs left, right, center, back, and probably upside down, earning eddies like I just unlocked the Night City unemployment benefits. During this grind phase, I applied things I've learned gooning over the years. I was locked in, mentally fogged, tabs open, no thought, only movement. And I wasn't going to stop. Even if I'm tired, I will only stop when I have finished. At this point, I knew I'd eventually need to switch over to Berserk or Sandevistan if I wanted any hope in boss fights. Before I could even meet Meredith and get my hands on the weapon, I had to finish the heist. Now, if you played Cyberpunk, you know it's kind of a big deal. It unlocks the rest of Night City, better vendors, better upgrades, all the real stuff I'd need to survive on very hard. But here's the thing, This mission was stupidly frustrating. Why? Because I still didn't have my weapon of choice, which meant I had to sneak through the whole thing. And sure, stealth is viable in Cyberpunk. It works. But crouch walking behind the couch for 7 minutes straight, waiting for one guy to turn around, is not exactly the peak of erotic thrill. Which in this challenge, I needed a lot of erotic thrill. After that, my momentum was building. I powered through the critical missions, made contact with Meredith Stout, and finally, after a long, stiff journey, acquired the Goon Hammer. After hours of grinding and maintaining a certain level of hardness, my work was starting to turn into results. I had leveled up. I was faster, stronger, and slightly more feral. I am now able to progress through the story with full confidence that I'll be able to beat any foe I face with my plastic meat. Truly, we were cooking. No, we were gooning. So yeah, I'll admit it. From time to time, I had to rotate the camera, check on my female V, and made sure my motivations level stayed intact. We do what we must for victory. And just when I thought I couldn't go any harder, I made it to the part where I meet Judy, and the ever beautiful Rita Wheeler, of course. And something inside me stirred. And then I saw Panam, under the hood of her car, fixing wires, and awakening forbidden thoughts. At that moment, I ascended. I was no longer just a gamer. I was a warrior monk of lust-fueled determination. And almost forgot that I joked about it. Yes, it was a joke. Met Mama
Thanks,
Wells
Mama
so I
Wells.
could get Jackie's bike.
Don't mention
Which I
it
did
to
before all this, but I forgot to add
you.
in.
You have
Now that I think about it, it seems like I didn't follow that roadmap I made whatsoever. At this point in the challenge, everything was at an all-time high. My confidence, unshakable. My character level and street cred, skyrocketing. My cyberware, juiced to the max. My eddies, overflowing. You know what else is up right now? Haha. My difficulty settings, obviously. I was one Judy scene away from ascending into another plane of existence. And finally, I got Sandevistan, in exchange for downgrading my other cyberware, but I definitely needed it for the boss fight. At this point, I was ready to face Oda, one of the main boss fights in the game. And honestly, I smacked him silly. He didn't know what hit him, probably because it was a giant rubbery piece of vibrating toy. The man tried to fight with honor. I showed up with a toy you'd find in a very different aisle. He blocked, I swung. He dodged, I whiffed. But eventually, I won. I beat a cyber ninja with a certified comedy prop. After everything I'd been through, I had finally reached the final chapter of this absurd journey. I progressed through Cyberpunk 2077 under extremely abnormal rules. Most missions forced me into stealth, crouching behind crates, abusing quick hacks, and silently taking down enemies. All because I refused to use any weapon that wasn't shaped like a giant vibrating toy. But when things got messy, my trusty vibrating companion, now upgraded and somehow actually dangerous, became a surprisingly effective tool of destruction. All while having a hard-on. And now, after hours of smacking enemies senseless and somehow maintaining my condition, I stood at the threshold of my final and biggest challenge, defeating Adam Smasher. After this very awkward elevator ride. So, Takemura, do you guys also use this as alternative to katanas? Guess that means no, huh? Well, big fan of your people's cultural exports, even if they're usually blurred. Okay, back to who Adam Smasher is. A walking war machine, a cybernetic monstrosity built for annihilation. And I was going to beat him, using a weapon that absolutely was not built for beating him. But I'd come this far, and if there was ever a moment to go down swinging, it was now. Meat stick in hand, dignity long gone, and pride at an all-time high. Smasher, however, was also not going down without a fight. I was swinging my meat out, but he was taking it like a champ. I didn't get him the first time, Hell, I didn't even get him the second time. But I wasn't going to quit. Oh my god, finally! You are so much harder without a real weapon, bro. And as I stood over Adam Smasher's twitching corpse, weapon in hand, I realized maybe gooning was my true cyberware all along. And so I did it. I beat Cyberpunk 2077 on very hard while being hard. Was it worth it? No. Did I prove anything? Also no. But in a world full of distraction, degeneracy, and side boobs, I stayed focused and stayed strong and determined. I could have gone outside. I could have learned a skill. I could have called my parents, talked to friends, but instead, I chose to goon my way through Cyberpunk 2077. Once again, thanks to the legend himself, and the legend he thanks so he can be a legend, for this ridiculously stupid idea. I wasted 40 hours of my life for this. Hopefully, there's a lesson on the way. Probably not. I guess subscribe if you enjoyed. Or not. I'm not your dad.